Good morning, everybody. How are
Good
we
morning.
feeling? We're so excited to introduce our first speaker of the day, which is Naga Malsamari. She's with IMCON Leadership, and she's going to walk you all through a DISC profile to help you kind of understand the lens in which you view the world, whether it's personally or professionally. Nagam has also been very involved with us the last few years, and we were so impressed by her last year that we decided to elevate her and give her an opportunity to share her wisdom with all of you today. So you're really in for a treat. Please help me welcome Nagam to the stage.
Thank you. All right, let's start with this. How many of you have dealt with a broken bone before? Broken arm? Okay, so first thing in the morning, I go to the office and I get a little girl, 10 a.m. I think, and little girl comes in from the playground, arm just dangling like that. Broken, you could see the bone come out. And that's just 10 a.m., okay? And this is to give you an idea of what it feels like to be a school principal. And that's my former life. Constant, unpredictable situations. Like you have a whole to-do list set out for your day, but you throw it out the door once you walk into the office because you got a parent who's ready to fight you over homework. Come on, who does that? So I had such a crazy life back when I was a school principal, and all this work that I had to go and take home at the end of the day. And my nights were crazy busy, my days were crazy busy, and I had to stop and wonder, what the heck is going on? What is going on? What is it that I'm doing wrong? That's what I was thinking. So years passed by and I was like testing algorithms and I even downloaded an app to track every activity of the day just to see where everything is leaking. And I couldn't figure out what's going on until I took an assessment and figured out I had a certain tendency, very strong tendency in my personality that actually kept me from making quick decisions during the day. And this is what we're going to talk about today. So I'm Nagam Malsamari, as was said, and I work with high performers who look amazingly shiny and effective on the outside and overwhelmed, burnt out on the inside. And I help you build your resilience muscle so you can take care of that pressure, stay calm, and we're going to focus on two pillars of resilience today. The first one is self-awareness, and the second is communication. And we're going to do that through the tool that I use, DISC. And by the end of this 30-ish minutes, I'm going to help you think and respond like a resilience master. So who's ready to shift their script today? All right. All right. So before we actually get started, you have, and don't open it yet, you have a compact mirror, okay? This is what I'd like for you to do. I want you to hold your compact mirror, and I'm going to give you instruction. Don't open it, but when I say go, this is what I would like for you to do. When I say go, I want you to open it, and I want you to hold it just like this, okay? Like you're kind of looking at it. But what I want you to do instead is look straight at me. And I'm going to stand still. I move around a lot, but I'm going to stand still for this one. So open your mirror and look. And we're going to take 5 seconds. Open the mirror and look straight at me. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, close it up. What did you see? Did you see anything else in the room? Maybe in your peripheral visions? Yeah? Did you also catch a glimpse of yourself? Yeah. You know what we do all day long? We're still in the background. We know we're there, but we're busy with everything else around us. This is what it looks like. Our focus is taken by everything else that we have to do, all the people that we have to deal with during our days that we don't actually pay attention to what we do we don't pay attention to our behaviors. We don't pay attention to our communication. And today, we're going to focus on that. We're going to bring that focus back on you, and we're going to talk about your self-awareness and how to build that into your communication. This is how we're going to do it first. We're going to start with a number sheet that you have. You should have 2 copies of this on your table. So we're going to take 30 seconds. Yes?
Does everybody have the handouts? We had to do some shifting. I want to make sure everybody has. We had to do some shifting.
I love this.
We got them too. They have numbers on them, is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Everybody have this sheet. There's some extras. Who needs the number sheet? Nobody? We're good? All right, awesome. All right, so I'm a former teacher, so we're gonna pop quiz you today. So if you're not ready for this, you can leave. I'm just kidding, don't leave. All right, so what we're gonna do is I'm gonna give you a 30-second timer. When I hit my timer, and I need to get that timer ready, what I want you to do is take your pen, and you're going to look for the numbers in sequential order. What you're going to do is circle the numbers, starting with the number 1. Do not do it now. No cheating. All right? Don't be looking over at somebody else's table. Only when I say go, because I do have to time you. What you're going to do is you're going to look at your paper, and you're going to find the numbers in sequential order, starting with number 1. You find it, you circle it, you go to number 2. Find it, you circle it. Everybody good? No directions? Are you ready? Yeah. Go. Almost there. 30 seconds feels like a lot, doesn't it? And stop. All right. So, who found the number up to number 5? Raise your hand. How about 10? Ooh, we have high achieving people in here. How about 15? Up to 15, we got a couple. 20? Who has the highest? How about 16? 17? 18? 18? Right there, woo! This is Erin, everybody. She works with me. And she has not done this before. Ooh, what do we got? 21. Anybody higher than 21? No? All right. Awesome job. Let's give her a hand. Woohoo! All right. So, I gave you 2 sheets for a purpose. What I want you to do is take the clean sheet now, and before we do this again, what I want you to do is notice the notches, one at the top of the sheet and one at the bottom, and draw a straight line between them so that what you're doing is you're cutting the sheet in half. So straight line from all the way to the top to the bottom. And then notice the other notches on the sides and do the same. Draw a line. You should have 4 quadrants. And let me share something with you. If you look on, I have to do it this way. Oh, I can do it here. If you look at the top, what is it to you? The top left quadrant, this is where number 1 is. If you go straight over here, this is where number 2 is. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Are you ready to do this again with 30 seconds? All right, go.
I know.
And time. All right. It's a lot of pressure. And you're just sitting at a table, circling numbers. Imagine your day.
Yes.
All right. So, who has more than 21? 22, 30, 35, 40. Whoa, we got 40, more than 40? Woo, let's give it up right here for 44. Okay, who felt it was so much easier the second time? Why? Does anybody know why? Focus. And you know the pattern, you know that it repeats. Yeah. You know what happens when we understand the patterns of things, like directions to someplace new? You no longer need GPS after a while, right? Same thing here and same thing with your life. This is why we focus on self-awareness. Because once you start noticing the patterns within your own life and your own behaviors, then things will start making sense. I'm not saying they're going to get easier. Nothing ever does. But you'll make sense of things of your own understanding. So what we're going to do is we're going to shift our script in 26, and we're going to do it starting with the DISC tool today. Are you ready to go through DISC and figure out? All right. So it's ancient. It started out really, from like different versions of it all the way down to DISC. I'm not going to go through that, but I do want you to know that it really shapes into what it is that it is today, based on your family, your heredity, role models in your life. Oh, Mike, yeah. I could use the mic. Let me see if it, because I like to move around. So let's see. Lots of room. All right, awesome. And then your environment. And the good news is you don't have to, even after you find out your DISC letter today, it doesn't actually stay the same. Yeah. So let's do this. Okay. First of all, before we go through this, you have this sheet on your table. So this is a little cheat sheet that I have for you, but also on the back, you have space for notes. So as I'm going through this and you're like, ooh, I think I'm a D, go ahead and take notes as you want, and then we'll help you figure this out. So imagine yourself pushing an elevator button, waiting for the elevator, and you're standing there waiting. Now, if this is you, just put this down. This is you waiting for the elevator, standing there, head down, thinking about the next thing that you want to do, but really kind of hoping that no one's in the elevator, that you can ride alone. Push that button once you're inside and don't have to talk to anybody. How many of you don't have to share, you don't have to raise your hand, but yeah, that's me. I'll happily share, that's me. And there are others who can't wait to get on the elevator and see someone else so they can start a conversation. Which button do you want me to push? Where are you going? Which floor are you on? And it goes on. I mean, you have met a lot of people like that, right? Here's another situation, planning a vacation. If you're this kind of person where you're like, you have a master list, which includes 5 other lists on the bottom of it, and then it branches into other lists because, well, you have to plan not just where you're going, but also everything else you're taking with you, and how many bags, and what is inside of each bag, and then did you turn off that microwave and unplug the outlets in your house? That's what kind of person. That's more on the task-oriented type. And then there is the person who's like, have not even packed yet for the day, and it's, their trip is tomorrow, and they're thinking about what they're doing, who they're gonna meet, and what kind of fun they're gonna have, right? Me, you're saying? And you'll find that we also sometimes transition between one or the other, and that's the good news. All right, and these are the different types: the dominant, the influencing personalities, the steady, and the compliant. Now I'm going to drill those real quickly. Ready? Okay. Your Ds, which are only 3% of the population, are your dominant personalities. They're your direct personalities who tend to be impatient because they are very results oriented. You want to talk to them? Talk to them about results. Start there, start at the top. And then you can get into details. They're very decisive. I'm gonna break it down further later on as well, but we're gonna start with this first. Your eyes, 11% of the population. You know immediately when an eye walks in the room because they have a smile on, everybody knows them because they've already talked to everyone, and they're just very friendly and spontaneous. Your S's, take a drink. Your S's are 69%. They're the majority of the population. And these are the people who are very team-oriented. They make the team just come alive. They're really good at that group work. They love it. They're very loyal. And they're steady in what they do. And then the last one is the 17% of the population who are your compliant people who love their data. Everybody pretty much in this room has someone on their team who has a C personality, whether you know it or you don't, because they're the ones that love looking at those Google Analytic numbers that no one likes, and they actually understand them and make sense of them, and very, very creative people. So these are your C personalities. All right, so really quickly, what I want you to do, everybody has one of these at the table, so I'd like one person from the table to hold this up so I can see who you are. And if you're holding it up, you're volunteering to be the timer. It's an easy job, don't worry. Doesn't pay, but it's easy enough. What you're gonna do is this. You're going to talk amongst the table. And ready? All right, let me get, what you're gonna do, when I say go, you're gonna talk to your table. After we're gone through this real quickly, I want you to know which script is running you right now. Is it the D? Is it the I, the S, or the C? And if you need help, you can always look at that beautiful and colorful sheet at your table. All right, so you're talking to your table and you're thinking about you so far. Where are you in this? And what you're gonna do, timers, this is your job. When I say go, you're gonna turn this and you're gonna watch it. And as soon as it's done, you're gonna tell your team, time's up. Ready? Turn the hourglass.
All right. Okay. So we're talking about our KPR.
Well, analytical, I mean, I work on stuff for me, and a scratch.
Uh-oh. My time watchers, are you doing your job? All right, time's up. 3, 2, 1. Come on. I'm going to give you another opportunity, time watchers. So try and do it again. All right. No, we're not going to do it right now. I'm going to wait and trick you until you forgot about this and do it later, okay? But as you were thinking about this, you probably already came in here and you had an idea of who you are and what you do, what your day looks like. But if you're anything like me and you're solid on who you are and your personality, and then you take the assessment and you're like, what? I was completely taken back by my results. I thought I was a high S, right there. And then I thought I was a C after that too. But I was completely shocked when I saw my results, and I'll tell you later. But I want you to start thinking about this because it really helps when you think about who you are. Because building self-awareness is all about reflecting. Not reflecting in like, I'm just going to talk about it right now and forget about it later. It's constant having these ready questions to go and reflection into like, why did I answer this way? Or why did I do this, the thing that I'm doing this way? What's happening here? And taking that little bit of time, and it takes a couple of seconds to actually reflect and figure out, oh, okay, now I understand why I did it. And it really helps because I was able to change one of the highest tendencies on my report because I was so intentional with the work. All right, ready? So I teach this as I work with everybody else that I'm coaching, and I teach it through resilience because this is, to me, self-awareness is the foundation of resilience. If you want to build resilience, first you have to start knowing who you are, okay? So this is why I ask you, are you a resilience master? And a resilience master isn't somebody who's mastered resilience, it's somebody who knows they need to work on it and ready to do the work. So are you a resilience master? Is everyone in this room a resilience master? Yes, yes. All right, you're here, so you are. All right, ready for some more details? Okay, let's figure this out. Okay, you're decisive, but you can be so impatient and hard to work with because you're blunt. And the reason for this isn't bad, it's because you know what you want and you go after it, but you don't have patience for the details. So that could be an obstacle. There are strengths in every personality and every high tendency, and there are things that we don't see, I call them blind spots, because other people see in us and we don't realize. And sometimes we get so defensive when people tell us, but if we only stop and reflect, we see that they're right because this is how they see it. This is how our behavior is showing off to them. So you could be argumentative. People could think of you as inconsiderate if you're a high D because you don't stop and ask questions because you're so driven. And it helps to be a small business owner. You have to be a high D, right? Because you need to get the goals, but you also need the other personalities. Okay. The eyes, like I said, they light up a room, very friendly, very outgoing. Their focus, however, can be everywhere because they start a job, and I see somebody, some of you nodding, they start something and they leave it alone, and it just falls out of love, and they go to the other thing and they start that and they move on to the next thing, and they're very friendly, very outgoing, but they need somebody to direct them. They need somebody to hold them accountable. Otherwise they won't get anything done, even though everybody loves them. But does anyone have somebody like that on their team? Wait, you don't have to share, but they need a little bit more discipline so that they can work independently because of their personalities. Your S's, very easygoing, agreeable. They bring the entire team together. I call them the harmonizers. They harmonize, they bring everybody together. They're very good, they're loyal, they're stable. They do not like change. They don't like change because they do their thing so well. Why would you change it on them? So if you were to introduce change to somebody with an S, give them time to digest, to understand what's going on. Give them time to understand we're going to go through this process and we're going to do it together. We're going to hold hands. We're not going to hold hands, but they need their time. I mean, do whatever you need to, right? All right. And your C's, they're the highly analytical people. They're your data-driven. They love the data. They love the facts. They are very detail-oriented, very creative. But you know what the detail-oriented people can do? They get stuck. Over data, analysis paralysis. I hear somebody saying in the back. Absolutely. They get stuck and they get held back waiting for another piece of data to come in so they can make a decision. And so they need direction, constant direction. And lo and behold, when I took the assessment, okay, so one, I was a high C, and this was actually what was preventing me from getting decisions real quickly as a school principal, because I stop at everything, and I analyze every darn thing in my day. I'm like, oh, what if I'm doing this wrong? Oh, what if I you know, as a new school principal, of course, you got to learn the ropes, but also you're in charge of like hundreds of lives. So you have to be careful of what you do. But my shock came not from the C. It turns out my highest letter was an I. I had no idea. I've always thought of myself as a shy person. But what I discovered later on is that earlier in my life, the English language was a barrier because I had to learn the English language here as I came in as a refugee. And so discovering that I'm a high I and I'm a socializer and I'm outgoing, what? Who are you talking about? But it was a great discovery for me because it helped me put the right lens on of how I dealt with people, of how I dealt with myself, with my self-talk. How many of you do self-talk here? Be honest, come on, everybody does. Everybody does. And it's not very nice. Most of the time, it's harsh, right? So putting on the right lens is important so we know what we're dealing with and what we're working with. All right, so let's do, and what's my time here, ladies?
I'm so engaged. Oh my gosh, I forgot. Yeah, we want to wrap it up so that we've got some more time here.
Then perfect, because I thought I was going too fast. All right, I started my timer, but apparently I didn't push start, so I have no idea. All right, so this tells you the high I and what it's doing, but I'm super excited about this. That's why I want to get started in this. So this is where I want you to kind of pause. And I call this a master's guide because the things that we have in us, the innate things, that the highest tendencies, like the high I that keeps us from doing the focus, the high focus is not a bad thing. It's just a thing that we need to work on. We need to discover, we need to be aware of, and then we need to work on, okay? So here's where I want you to think a little bit. If you are a D and you have team members who are Cs on your team, and they come to you with all the data, they come to you with all the information, and you're a D, you know now that you can be impatient. You cannot actually give them the time to actually go through all their data. Either be more patient or train them. Have an honest conversation. This is how I communicate as a D. Start with the results at the top, and then we'll go through the details if we have time. That's one way to do it, right? If you are the C person and you've got D people on your team, do the opposite. Start with the details. Your Cs love the details. If you have your S's, use them because they love the work. They love the teamwork. They do not work alone. And if you're about to introduce change, give them enough time and grace to understand and digest what you're going through. Involve them in the decision-making step by step by step. And this is, we talk about communication and we think communication is talking. It's not just talking. It's your behavior communicates more than what your mouth is saying. What you're expecting from people communicates a lot more than what your mouth is saying. Yes? What you model is communicating a lot more than what your mouth is saying. So we're going to do 1 more minute. Timers, this is your chance to redeem yourself. Okay. On the back of the sheet, you have a question that says, where is it? I think it's question number 2. Why can't I read this? Oh, sorry. It's the first question. It's the very first question that says, stress changes how we speak. How might your default way of communicating under pressure be accidentally adding stress to your team? What I want you to do is pause there, now that you have a little bit more information about yourself, and talk to your team and answer that first question. How are you currently communicating? What is the gap in your communication right now? All right, timers, ready? Go. This is the last thing we're going to do, and then we're going to move.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
We were just so enthralled. I wasn't even paying attention.
I set it to 30, and I thought I hit the press. But this is the last thing that we're going to do, and then I'll have my QR code at the end, like the next slide. So we're good. Oh, already. Yeah, perfect. Awesome. All right. And then I'll have you take over because you're going to instruct.
Get them rolling.
Okay.
And I even think
back to them because I'm retired, and so I would look at family also, and it goes with family, but also when I look at S, which is designed as a C and an S,
All right, wrap the conversation up. Let's come back in 3, 2, 1. Awesome. I know I cut you off, and I actually gave you an extra 30 seconds to talk because this is really important to digest with someone else. Because resilience doesn't work by itself. When you're on your own, it's harder. You need that additional person to talk through some of these things. So this right here, this is where you make the shift. This is where survivors turn into resilient masters. Because once you recognize what your power is and how you can take control of your natural tendency that is highest, this is how you can actually grow. Because one last thing I want to leave with you is that in resilience, contrary to a lot of what people say, you don't build, when you are a resilient person, you don't bounce back. I don't believe in bouncing back. Bouncing back just puts you back where you started. And that's not what we want. This is not what this room is all about. What we do as resilient masters is we bounce forward. We take everything, every challenge, every mistake, every failure that we have gone through, and we learn from it, and it makes us better human beings, better at what we do, better at who we are. And so we don't bounce back. We bounce forward as resilient masters. And so when you're building that resilience muscle and training that resilience muscle, what you do is you start with your self-awareness. You'll start digging deep, taking that mirror and looking, putting yourself in focus and understanding who you are and how you communicate and how you do everything to help give you that push forward, because that's what we want to do. All right, so I know there's a lot, and you're gonna have an opportunity to take the DISC assessment. It's a free assessment which will only give you one letter, but there is another longer assessment that'll give you a longer report. If that's something that you're interested in, you can talk to me at my table. But we're gonna start here. We're gonna start with identifying our gift. We're gonna start identifying our power. So thank you so much for having me. And who's a resilience master in this room? I want you to say, yeah! All right. Thank you.